Welcome to How Roman Propaganda Built an Empire Without Social Media. This is Episode 3, The Empire of the Eye. How Rome Engineered Belief Through Spectacle. Rome didn't just conquer land, it conquered attention. In this chapter, we trace how visibility became ideology, how temples, coins, statues, and rituals programmed belief without a single broadcast. From triumphal parades to sacred graffiti, from portrait protocols to damnatio memoriae, we explore how Rome colonized vision itself, not through force, but through repetition. Because when power is seen everywhere, it stops needing to explain itself. This is the architecture of belief, the choreography of compliance. This is how sight became submission. In the Roman world, there was no broadcast, no camera, no live stream. But the empire still managed to be seen everywhere, not just in temples and streets, but in minds. Rome didn't force belief, it made belief visible, and once it was seen often enough, it began to feel like truth. Rome built power into the skyline. Temples, triumphal arches, imperial statues, always in sequence, always in sight. But visibility wasn't passive, it was programmed. Emperors issued portrait protocols. Sculptors followed strict guidelines to ensure the emperor's likeness remained timeless, idealized, and divine. Wrinkles were smoothed, muscles exaggerated. Even aging emperors appeared ageless in marble. Coins carried their faces to the frontiers. Tens of millions of denarii circulated with imperial slogans and divine symbols. A single coin could travel farther than a soldier. And it spoke the same message: Rome is eternal, the emperor is sacred. Graffiti echoed imperial slogans in marketplaces and taverns. Even mundane objects bore sacred designs. Oil lamps in Vindolanda were etched with Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun, so lighting a room became a ritual of empire. Power wasn't just in palaces, it lived in pockets, in alleys, in reflex. Triumph routes guided citizens through visual stories. SPQR carved into sewers. Banners raised from baths to altars. Even those who couldn't read Latin could read the empire. Rome colonized vision itself. And when control looks like beauty, who questions it? The Roman state didn't explain itself. It reflected itself endlessly. Every festival, every statue, every public ritual repeated the same message: Rome is destined. The emperor is divine. You are part of the myth. Triumphs, military parades, followed sacred paths through the city. They ended in ritual offerings at the Temple of Jupiter. Citizens watched victory become tradition, and tradition become truth. Spectacle wasn't celebration, it was rehearsal. Behind the victorious general, a slave whispered, "Remember, you are mortal." But the crowd didn't hear that. They saw gold, captives, elephants, and gods. They saw Rome. And when the mirror cracked, Rome erased it. Damnatio memoriae, condemnation of memory, removed traitors from busts, tablets, coins. Geta, murdered by his brother Caracalla, was literally carved out of public memory. His name scratched off inscriptions, his face chiseled from reliefs. Nero's statues were melted. Sejanus, once the emperor's right hand, was erased from every monument. When the image is the system, deletion becomes justice. Today we call it PR. But when campaigns are staged, critics blurred, posts deleted, it's not revision, it's legacy management. Rome taught the world, what gets repeated isn't just remembered, it becomes real. Roman cities were designed to shape belief through movement. The Forum, the Via Sacra, the temple steps. These weren't paths, they were performances. You walked past stories, past gods, past power, and that repetition shaped you. Imperial buildings weren't just functional, they dictated feeling. The Pantheon's dome dwarfed the individual. the Basilica of Maxentius, turned courts into cathedrals of law. Even empire's edges echoed its image. Roman military standards, Sina held such emotional weight that losing one could collapse morale. The Roman eagle Aquila was more than a military emblem. It was a sacred embodiment of Rome's soul. Each legion carried one, guarded by elite soldiers known as aquilifers. Losing an eagle wasn't just defeat, it was desecration. In 53 BCE, Marcus Licinius Crassus led a disastrous campaign against the Parthians. His legions were lured into the desert near Carrhae, where they were ambushed by Parthian cavalry. Crassus was killed, his army shattered, and, most devastatingly, 3 legionary eagles were captured. Rome was humiliated. The loss echoed through the Senate, through the streets, through the psyche of the empire. For decades, the missing eagles became symbols of wounded pride. Augustus later negotiated their return, not through war, but diplomacy, and staged their recovery as a triumph. Statues were raised, coins minted. The eagles came home, and with them, Rome's image of invincibility was restored. But the trauma lingered. Roman poets and historians referenced Carrhae as a cautionary tale, not just of military failure, but of symbolic collapse. The eagle wasn't just metal, it was myth. And when myth breaks, empires tremble. When Crassus lost the eagles to the Parthians, it haunted Rome for decades. Cities aligned their street grids to Rome's. Local cults absorbed Roman symbols. You didn't just live in Rome, you reenacted it. Today, airports choreograph movement. National buildings echo temples. Platforms guide your scroll the same way Rome once guided your steps. The empire isn't just what rules you, it's what moves you. Rome didn't need to fight every war. Sometimes, it just needed to be seen. In Judea, rebels wavered after witnessing Rome's triumphal procession. Columns of gold, exotic animals, divine banners. Josephus records how the spectacle alone broke resistance. Cities like Byblos surrendered without a fight when the parade passed nearby. They saw the image and laid down their arms. Today we still use spectacle to suppress shock and awe, ceremonial parades, political optics designed for headlines, not policy. The threat doesn't need to say anything. It just needs to look like victory. Rome didn't measure public opinion. It manufactured conditions for compliance. Repetition, spectacle, saturation. A world in which agreeing with the state felt not just smart, but natural. When belief is visible everywhere, resistance becomes invisible. Today we measure everything: likes, trends, shares. But the platforms that record our reactions also shape them. Algorithms boost emotion. Headlines chase virality. What we call opinion may be engineered, just like Rome's rituals were rehearsed. Rome did it with arches and chants. We do it with screens and scrolls. Rome didn't need everyone to agree. It only needed everyone to see the same thing: the eagle, the crown again, the silence. And over time, that vision became truth. Today we live in a different kind of empire, not carved in stone, but curated in pixels. Our triumphs are televised, our doubts quietly buried. So the next time power looks inevitable, ask yourself, is it real, or is it just repeating? Because sometimes the most dangerous image is the one we forget to question. Rome didn't need to be understood. It only needed to be seen. And once the image was everywhere, on coins, in rituals, across skylines, it stopped being questioned. Visibility became truth. But spectacle was only the surface. Beneath the marble and myth, another system was forming, quieter, colder, and harder to escape. A system not of gods and parades, but of forms, ranks, and routines. In Episode 4, The Silence System, how Rome turned bureaucracy into belief, we explore how the empire engineered consent not just through spectacle, but through structure too. Because when obedience becomes habit, belief becomes automatic, and the most powerful system is the one that feels normal.